Hey YouTube, it's Epidemics bringing you how Game of Thrones should have ended. It's a compilation of, pictures from season 7, season 8 of how I think season 8, or at least the finale, should have been edited. Because truly it doesn't make sense why Dany goes insane, why Jon doesn't want the throne, why no one cares who Jon is, and why Bran even gets the throne at the end, which even using clips from Game of Thrones from the last 2 seasons, I wasn't able to make a storyline because it doesn't make sense. Anyways, so the first scene that I would use to start off the finale would be the meeting at the Dragon Pit. Now this is the meeting where we know that Jon, Dany, and the rest of them meet up with Cersei for an armistice, for a truce, temporary truce. Doesn't work. We all know what happens. Cersei was lying all alone. So what happens? They have that peace. Then Jaime meets with Dany and Jon in the north because they went north, right? They thought Cersei was gonna help them, so what happens? They just went north to fight off the White Walkers. But Jaime arrives in the north and tells them, "My sister lied." And so then we go on to Euron and the Golden Company arriving in King's Landing, where they discuss how many men they are, 20,000 soldiers, no elephants, unfortunately for Cersei. Then Dany is super furious, so what does she do? Go south. Why? To destroy her treacherous enemy, Cersei, Queen Cersei. So what happens? While they're flying south or on their boats, Bronn of the Blackwater captures Missandei. Then Qyburn offers him gold, and then the bow, or what's it called? Whatever it is, the bow, I'm gonna call it the bow, to go kill Jaime and Tyrion. After that, Missandei is taken to the capital. And we see that scene where Dany goes outside the walls of King's Landing and they're negotiating what's going to happen, that Cersei must surrender. Then what do we see? Missandei executed by the mountain. Now why is this scene so important? Because these scenes were supposed to make us believe that Dany is going to go insane. But the writers didn't do it efficiently, or it was just so confusing. I didn't understand why she went mad. So Jon and the rest of the armies of Dany arrive outside King's Landing, and there they are having a standoff with the Golden Company in front of the walls. And so what happens next? Well, Dany just kills everyone. She kills the Golden Company, she destroys Euron's fleet, she destroys everything. Well, the fortresses at least, and the defenses outside. Then the city surrenders and they hear the bell. Dany hears the bell, so she waits. Then she's thinking, I think she's thinking about what to do. Then she just destroys everything and everyone. The city burns. Then we get Clegane, and the brothers died. That was good fan fiction. Then Jaime is trying to find Cersei and the guards won't pay attention to him, but eventually he gets to her and then they can't escape. And they die in each other's arms, therefore the reigns of Castamere. Jon, Davos, and the rest of the Northern Army go into the city, and Jon can't stop the pillaging and raping of women, unfortunately, and the Northern Army just goes rampaging through the city, as does the Dothraki and the Unsullied. And Jon is just furious and disgusted. After having burned the city and all its citizens alive, Dany cannot stand to be in King's Landing, so she goes to Dragonstone, and there she contemplates what she has done, where we start to see her hair just go crazy. We saw those scenes of her in Dragonstone, and it's Dany losing it. Those are the first signs, because she feels remorse. But then again, she tries to rationalize it, thinking she did the right thing for the kingdom, for her and for the people where she's liberating them. John, knowing what Danny must be going through emotionally, physically, and everything, goes to talk to her. And at this point, they're heading north to Winterfell. Or at least that was the plan. Then they heard news that there were White Walkers haven't been seen close to the wall. So instead of going to Winterfell, they're going to the wall. And so John is having that conversation with Danny. But then things get a bit heated. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Well, incestuous way. John and Danny sleep together. And I think that's a sign, the first sign that John is in love. Well, it's not the first sign, but it just shows us that John is in love with Danny even after having burned citizens and children, young people, old people, just innocent people alive. And John still loves her, which is it's a dilemma that we should have seen, that should have been built up in the Iron Throne, that episode of season 8, the last episode. So John and company reach north of the wall and try to scope out where the army of the dead are, where the Night King is. They go beyond the wall, and then they meet that bear, the undead bear, and people die, whatever. Stupid. Dumb and Dumber, as many people call them. And they encounter the dead. They are surrounded, as we saw in that episode where Viserion clearly dies. Now that's another hard-hitting moment, building upon Danny's madness, because she goes to save John. John isn't saved. Yes, his friends are, but he isn't. And Danny has to wait for John to come back. It's a whole dilemma. But Viserion died. One of her children died to the Night King. So she's angry. Okay, the queen lost one of her children, and that's another reason for Danny going insane. Couple returns to Winterfell, or at least they go to Winterfell. John returns to Winterfell, and we see that beautiful scene of the dragons flying overhead and scaring the northern folk. And Danny's just so proud of her dragons, as she should be, because it's the symbol of power, it's the symbol of her house, fire and blood, Targaryens. And then Danny meets Sansa. Danny meets the Starks, those cold bastards up in the north. And Sansa has none of it. She hates Danny. Before Bran and Sam can tell John about his heritage, who his ancestors are, John and Danny take a little bit time off and enjoy their time together. Probably the only time we see them at peace. And so John rides his father's namesake dragon, Rhaegal, and it's a glorious, glorious episode and scene of John riding a dragon, figuratively and literally, because he's on a dragon. And we get that scene of John kissing Danny, which was super romantic, even though it's incestuous. I don't condone that, by the way. Well guys, thank you for bearing with that, my voice and everything, and these very terrible pictures. I hope you enjoyed. This is only part 1, and part 2 will be uploaded shortly, maybe in a day. I am sure to finish this story off. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this ending that I will remember as a true ending of Game of Thrones.